I think the biggest thing was going to the vigils. That still now brings home sadness to me. And I would still think of the verses that were mentioned at the service. One of them was, for your tomorrow, we gave our today. And the other one was, with the going down of the sun, in the morning we will remember them. And I had the tattoos done, so whenever I hear that a death has happened out in Afghanistan, I know exactly what's happening out there. That is a very strange feeling, because I want to be there and still experience that in a strange way. Anybody going out into theatre environment, you become a soldier first. My nursing is secondary. You are not looked upon any differently because you are a female. Anybody that appears in theatre, everybody knows they've had to go through rigorous training to get there. So everybody's got respect for everybody when you're out in that environment, because they all know what you've been through to get there. It brings it home, the dangers that you are in, particularly when you're transferring patients. Recently, we'd come under a very big rocket attack in Kandahar, which was the biggest since 2006, and I had a patient in the back of an ambulance, and I literally went into training mode and grabbed that patient out of the ambulance on the floor, and we were at a checkpoint, safety point, being fired at, and we just had to do our drills. When I was led on the floor with the firing going on, I was scared, and there's no getting away from that. And I did question myself, what on earth am I doing? But there was an element of, do you know what, I've done my training, I'm here doing my job, and the training has equipped me to do my job well. You have to be prepared for every eventuality. So the kit we take is massive, particularly in dressings. And how we do that in flight, it's not the most appropriate. We do have protective curtain if we're doing personal dressings. If we can't do that, we actually bring a couple of lads forward and say, could you hold a blanket up? Get their mates to hold the blanket up. We're doing no different than we would in civilian street, protecting their privacy. My counselling skills, because I became a bereavement counsellor, were extremely useful, but not being a too soft a touch, you had to find the right balance. So you had to bring in an element of humour. You know, you would joke about their injuries. Some people find that not a pleasant thing to do, but the guys love it. You need to be joking with them. You don't need to be, fragile around them. They're not fragile people. And that was one of the biggest things that I learned with bringing the guys back, was that you can't do that in civilian street. If somebody's lost a limb, you can't turn around and say, well, you don't need a pair of shoes, do you, for Christmas? Coming out of that environment and then having to go into a relatively safe environment within the NHS, it takes lots of adjusting and lots of understanding on both parts. Okay then, Joe, we have got SATs of 95%. He's on a peak of 29. It's a very controlled environment within the NHS. Everything is there for you. It's very different within your theatre environment. Two different worlds apart, two different challenges, but at the same time, your patient is your focus at all times. All right, so we're going to start to wean you off shortly, and the first thing I do when I take over a patient is look at what the state of the trolley looks like. I like things ironed. I got told the other day that I was the only person that ironed my trousers with a crease down the front, and when I looked, I was the only person. That is being bought in by my military training, and I think it's good for them to have somebody like myself that have taken nursing different places and learned different skills and have different knowledge, and bring that back into the workplace. I get asked, would I like to have been a regular? And the answer is no. And the reason being, I have the best of both worlds. I'm working in the NHS, who fully support what I do. I'm very proud of what I do. And I have the Air Force that takes me into a different role, different environment, and a different person. I am a different person when I'm out, and I'm a military person. I think the motivation is the respect and the reward that you get. And the guys that you bring home, they're so thankful for what you do to them. And all they want to do is go back out. Same as all I want to do is go back out and do that work.